this is the screen that we did last time. This is as far as we got. So now I'm going to add a scrolling message with a positive metric on, threshold, and I'm going to also add a pop-up alert as well and a video. So I'm just going to open the director now and I'll make those changes. So if we go into our page here, the first thing I'm going to do is to add a scrolling message. And like we said last time, to put any element onto the designer, it's just a case of clicking and dragging it on, resizing it. So for now, just for the purpose of this, I'm just going to put a default message in here, but you should see this change when I've attached a threshold on in a moment. Okay, so I'm just going to set the threshold up. Okay, so we choose our data source. And our value. So I'm going to choose SLA or TSF for this example. And the example I'm going to do on the scrolling message is if SLA is more than or equal to 90%, we want that scrolling message that I just created earlier to change. So I'm just going to add that rule. And for a scrolling message, we just select this little pencil icon here, enable that, and type in the message that we want it to change to. So I'm going to put, great job, guys, SLA is over 90%. And I also, because it's a positive threshold alert, I'm going to make the scroller change colour as well. So we'll change it to green with white text on. So if I save that now, that's our threshold set up. So if I go back into the page and just attach that threshold to the scroller that I set up, let's find the page. And there's that threshold that I set up has come up in the drop down here. So you just select it, attach it to the scrolling message, click OK, and update and publish. Now if we go back to the, I'm just going to open the page up now, the screen, and we'll see if the threshold is actually triggered, if SLA is actually above 90%. And it is, there we go. We can see the positive threshold there on the scrolling message. Okay. What I'm going to do as well is set up a pop-up alert. And this can be, a pop-up alert can be placed anywhere on the screen because of course it's not shown unless it's actually triggered by something, whereas the scrolling message, you know, you have your default message that shows all the time, and only when a threshold is triggered does that message change. With a pop-up alert, it will only appear if it's actually triggered by something, so you won't see it on the screen all the time. So you can actually put it on top of other elements. It's completely up to you. So we'll just add this pop-up alert here. And again, I need to set up a rule, so I'll do that in a moment. But I'll just set the text. So we want to say SLA okay, so this is going to be a negative pop-up alert. We want to see it to show if SLA drops below 90%. You can also, with pop-up alerts, have them animating. So you can have them sliding in or fading in as well. But for now, I'm just going to add it that way. So we'll just save that. And there we can see it. Okay, now if I publish that now, you'll see what I mean by the fact that it won't show up. And that's because we haven't attached a threshold to it yet. So you can see there's no pop-up alert there. Okay, so what we need to do now is go in and I will set up the threshold for the pop-up alert. Okay, so again we'll go in and choose our data source again. Oops. Okay, and then the only option you need when it's a pop-up alert is this little lightning bolt here. And that just enables the trigger event. You can also add audio as well if you wanted to pop-up alerts. But in order to do that, you need to upload your sound first, and then it will appear in this drop-down list here. So, okay, so there's our rule set up. So if I go back in now to that page, I just want to attach the pop-up alert rule to our pop-up element. Now, fingers crossed that the SLA for this is actually below 90 so that we can see the pop-up in action. So let's have a look. And it is. So there's the pop-up alert there. As I say, you can add sounds as well if you wanted to, and you can add the animation to make it move in and out. In fact, I can show you that, so I'll just make it animate. I'll have it sliding in and out. You can see there, sliding in and out. And also what I'm going to do is I'm going to add a video on here. And what the video is one of our YouTube videos. So it's going to be streaming directly from YouTube. Now to do that, again, you choose the video element, click and drag it, make it to the size you require. What size? Okay.
Just while Steph's doing that, guys, the ELI members of the audience will notice that we had two SLAs running there, one below 90% and one above 90%. That's because Steph's not actually using the SLA metric for one of those to make sure it does what it's supposed to do. Otherwise, we sit and wait for 10 minutes for it to change.
No, what it was, Steve, I actually used two different groups.
Oh, okay, cool.
Yeah.
So normally when you're designing the screen, you would have your different skills highlighted, or you'd have a group of metrics that come in for one skill and then slide out in another group for another skill. Or you would design the screen to be specific to that group of agents if you've got your agents sitting in those particular groups.
Okay, so your options with regards to video, you can upload a file as long as it's 100 meg or less. You can actually upload a file from your PC to the Optymyse software and run it that way, or you can, as I've just said earlier, you can stream from YouTube or something like that. So basically all I've done is I've put the URL in here that I want to stream from, and you can set your borders and shadows and things like that, and then I'm just going to save that now, and if I publish this we should see the video on the screen. Fingers crossed. There we are. So that's directly from YouTube. And okay.
Yeah, that looks fine on my screen, Steph. I don't know what everybody else gets. I guess it depends on how good your bandwidth is on a webinar like this. But obviously with the live product, it's down to your network. Most networks can handle that type of streaming. We've got customers that have a lot of our power supplier customers have weather on their screens. I know we've got some people on the call from Unify, and they'll know that some of the customers that we've worked with Unify have live streaming of TV, and that can be quite useful, not only to make the wallboards more engaging and more entertaining, but also to provide people with information about what's going on in the outside world. You know, if you're a courier company, you want to know what's going on with traffic. If you're a power company, you want to know what's going on with bad weather in certain areas of the country. So it's it's quite useful. But again, you can post. This is just a soundbite that I did last week to put onto YouTube. But you could have videos from your CEO talking about charity work that your company does. You could have videos that your marketing department produce. You could have videos which are being which pertain to products that your call center agents need to take calls about. A lot of the outsourced contact centers would benefit from that, because a lot of the time you've got agents taking calls about lots of different brands. So you can go to your customer and ask them to provide you with some videos to help the agents understand the brand and understand the product. So it's up there on the screen playing all the time, so they're reminded of it constantly. So it's an interesting tool. Thank you very much, Steph. That was excellent. Can you just put the finished corkboard screen up, just so we can show guys what you did at the end of last year with that design?
Sure, yeah. I think it's this one. No, this one.
Not that one. Okay, so this is a design that Steph put together, and her thinking behind this was to reduce the barriers that exist between agents and any type of measurement, any KPI, any wallboard, any dashboard, anything that you're using to measure those agents with. Agents are generally nice people. They show a lot of empathy. You're recruiting agents not because of their analytical powers, but you're recruiting agents because they're good with customers. So using a corkboard or something similar creates a very friendly environment, and they're much more likely to use these screens than they would the previous screen, which you saw with just loads of numbers. So you've got lots of stuff going on here. You've got your branding, you've got your company values, you've got pictures of agents, which is always fun, scrolling messages. You've still got your metrics in there. They're still there, and they'll still flash, they'll still change color, and they'll still alert the agents that the calls are stacking up, and they need to take them as soon as they can. But you've also got information about what's going on within the business. And that information is really important for making sure the agents are less stressed and they're more confident when they're on the telephone.